Yeah.
I had to. I hadn't started recording yet.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so we're starting in media res with the fight with Sable Star in space. Summer is rushing towards them. Harry is on the ground with uh, Andy right in
Yep.
front of her house, and we're gonna jeter past this entire thing with by inflicting love letters on y'all. So, and then I will read the opening bit again, which is, "Dear Adam, too much power, too many voices, too many memories, too much going on. Roll freak." As you writhe in pain and then floating in space, you get a 9. That's pretty good. On
I
10,
got a 9.
pick 2. On a 7 to 9, pick 1. Your powers
There.
are both close to and so very far away from Sable Stars. In what way might your Keynome-based powers have unforeseen consequences for Sable Star, and in what way might their attack terribly destabilize everything the Keynome affects, which would be, everything? Oh, man. Right after her attack, Sable Star grabs you and whispers some secret about yourself, the Concordance, heck, maybe even Dr. Infinity, meant to blow your mind. What was it? Who would tear the world apart to learn it? Or tear it out of your head? Dr. Infinity's arrival, right on the heels of the team, tells you something disturbing about their powers and yours. What is it? Take +1 forward versus Dr. Infinity if you try to leverage that dangerous information. From which you should infer that very shortly after Sable Star's attack, Dr. Infinity or their lawyers show up very shortly thereafter. Everybody else will also get that information. So.
Oh, man. Let me think about that one.
You think about that one?
Yeah.
All right. Let me grab another love letter. I have more. Who should be next? I think it's going to have to be Summer. So, submit post.
So for Summer, I have this really cute picture, or I have this tag that came from clothes. It's Summer 20. But it's small. I can't. Well, I took a picture of it. I'm not sure if you can see it well enough, and I couldn't find it online. So
crazy.
You'll have to wait a minute.
All right, dear Summer. Boy, this superhero thing is a little bit tougher than it looks. I'm sorry, I was typing really fast. Roll danger, -1 forward. And I heard a beep. Was that somebody rolling? Oh dear. Okay. On a 10 plus, pick 2. On a 7 to 9, pick 1. Sable Star totally saw you coming, and seeing the Phoenix floating there crippled didn't help you calm down and think things through either. But despite all that, you managed to impress someone involved in the fight. Tell us who it was, and we'll ask them if they see you as the new hero Radiance, or Summer. If Radiance, mark potential and clear condition. If Summer, take influence over them. When these future tech robot starfish things boiled out of the rift in space, you were totally ready for them. Tell us who in the group you teamed up with to tear them apart and collect a gadget from the wreckage. See the brain's tactical genius. Someone who didn't know who Radiance is, does now. Who is it? Take influence over them, and if you take a condition, also take potential. On a miss, pick 1, but your rash and emotional rushing into the fight left either a teammate. Oh, I'm kind of glad you rolled a 6. Your rash and emotional rushing into the fight left either a teammate, Leo, or Arya with serious concerns about whether or not being a superhero is right for you. And they didn't even have to say anything. You can see it on their face. Take angry and shift 1 label up and 1 label down. Your choice. Summer? What's
These are all very interesting.
Are they? Do you want to think about them?
I'm going to go with the future tech robot starfish things boiled out in the rift in space.
So you're going to take that middle one there and grab some gadgetry off of them from ripping them to pieces? Who did you team up with to tear them apart? So the timeline here is like Sable Star totally saw you coming. You probably, like, she dodged out of the way and you ended up sort of like bouncing off of Phoenix in your rush to get at her, but then things got hyper complicated and this rift opened and a bunch of the starfish things came out, and then you teamed up with,
I want to say Otto. Is that okay?
Yes, absolutely. So Otto like power ejects out of the Phoenix and goes to town. I love it. Is it raining there?
No, I have a fan running in the background though.
Okay.
If it gets too much, then let me know.
No, it's fine. It's fine. It's a very gentle.
But it's raining here.
Oh, I might have been, there you go. Or possibly it's raining outside of my house. Who knows? Okay, so you tore things up with Otto. I love it. And collect a gadget from the wreckage, which is basically burn the gadget to use Superior to unleash your powers at some point. Or alternately, you can use it as narrative fuel for some update to your stuff, which is always fun too. Cool. On a miss, pick one. Who has serious concerns about whether or not being a superhero is the right choice for you?
I want you to guess.
I mean, from just sort of the disapproving father thing, it seems like Leo would be so cool, but it could be Alicia. Man, I don't know.
Okay, rushing in impulsively actually elevates her in Leo's eyes. That doesn't work.
Well, okay, I can see. I absolutely believe that.
Alicia.
I absolutely believe that. But at the same time, it can be one of those things was like, do what I say, not what I do kind of reactions from him. And that would be.
Oh, no.
Who taught you to do that?
He'd be on board with his. He'd be like, yeah.
I learned it from watching you.
Dad, I learned it from you, Dad.
I'm going to say either Alicia or Arya disapproves. So if Dave likes disapproving, then go ahead.
I was going to... Alicia being disapproving? I mean... Oh, twist that arm. Okay.
Alicia, okay.
Sure.
So,
no, actually, I was going to suggest that Alicia actually would probably have that reaction.
and I think it's interesting that...
What is she doing?
Yeah, I think it's because Alicia's kind of got this thing in her head. Apparently it's hailing outside. Oh, wow, it's really hailing outside. Listen to that. Didn't even have to say anything. You can see it on their face. So take angry and shift one label up and one label down, your choice.
I pushed freak up and mundane down.
Lovely.
And took angry.
Lovely.
Right now, we're still just raining.
I know. Oh,
And hopefully we won't get a massive hailstorm here.
looping back. It's hailing here. Looping back to Adam.
If we do, we move.
Did you have a
If we
pick?
do, we should move.
Doyce, unfortunately, you gave me a lot of. Every option is good. Like
Okay, if you really wanna, what did you get? You got a 9, right? So you only get one pick, right?
I know that's what is making this difficult.
Plus, you have to in a lot of these, it's like you don't just have to pick a thing. You've got to tell us what it is, which is. That's
I
fine.
know, that's-
We'll loop back to you. Honestly, I could give you the whole session because it's a secret. All right. We're not doing. I'm gonna do Harry. All right. And click in here. Harry's going to be happy because I'm making him roll one of his good stats. Hey, Harry. Your friends are in space. Things went bad really fast, and you had to do something. Roll Savior. Because, of course, you roll Savior.
Yeah, that's not a guarantee that it'll turn out well.
Well, it is. Still, it's one of your go-to moves. I mean, an 8. A very palpable hit. All right.
I have rolled 4s on that before.
I'm not unaware of that. All right. So you got an 8 on a 10 plus. Pick 2 on a 7-9. Pick 1. You had to get up there somehow. What did you do, and how did it either impress the press or scare the hell out of Aegis? That's option 1. Option 2, Andy was right there when it happened, and you included her in a way that made the 2 or 3 missing weeks all worth it for her, I should say parenthetically. How did she and or the Irregulators help out? Finally, this is one of those moments where a long-ignored, semi-retired superhero steps back into the spotlight and really shines. Thanks to you, it's Uncle Chase. Tell us what he did, mark potential, and take +1 forward. On a miss, well, it doesn't matter. You pulled out Aegis aggro big time, but
Yeah. Let me think.
that's fine. Is it fair to say that if these
4
things
minutes.
that I drop on you guys, if the response is let me think for a second, I feel like they're good love letters? Because it's like, I don't know.
Yes.
Unless the choices are all terrible, in which case.
Oh no, I appreciate all of my options.
All right, I'm going to go with Alicia. Now, Alicia,
Okay,
unfortunately. What?
hang on
Yes?
half a second, Joyce.
Yes? The best part is I know how I'm going to get to the other thing that I want to do.
We're just speculating about hailstorms and my mom's Highlander sitting out in the driveway,
dear.
but
Do you need to?
not a lot we can do about it.
That's very true. Other than call insurance.
I could pull my Impreza down, but there's no way we could fit the Highlander in the space that the Impreza takes. So,
Indeed.
Oh.
All right, dear Alicia.
Okay. Dear Alicia,
Things were complicated enough with Sablestar turning Concord into her space whipping boy, but then a rift opened and outpoured more of Dr. Infinity's starbots. So predictable. Actually, that is kind of predictable. Roll mundane.
okay. Oh wait, I put that in the wrong place. Hold on. What
It's
the
all right.
hell? Sorry.
So Joyce, while Dave's doing that,
Uh-huh.
you know, I saw there was a weather warning, and so it pops up. Hail likely in 4 minutes. I mean, that's the most exact
Wow.
weather forecast I've ever gotten in Colorado.
Well, on the call thing.
10 years from now, the weather warning is going to be duck in 3, 2. Oh, shit.
Tornado warning somewhere around here too.
Hey, am I still carrying a +1 versus Doctor Infinity shenanigans?
Yes. And you should absolutely make use of that.
I definitely should make use of that.
Oh my God, are you fucking kidding me? How did you do that? I mean, pardon my French, but you're
my mundane is 0.
yeah, but you're taking a -1. Why do you have a -1?
No, I took a +1.
No, you took a -1. Look at the thing.
Still didn't help them. Still 6.
I mean, it's still a 6.
I don't know how. I don't know how it ended up with a.
Do you have a condition?
I put a 1 in the situational.
Oh, you have a condition. You have a condition.
Oh, I've got.
So that
I've
should
got
be,
a condition.
So
yeah.
that should be 4, 5.
-1.
It should be +1. It should be a 6. But yeah, you're right. It doesn't
Wait.
help. You should, because you have a -2. Right now you have a 4. It should be a 6. Because you had a -2 from whatever condition you had. The condition wouldn't apply to this.
You're
Okay.
But you have a whatever it is, probably angry that screws up your mind.
Probably angry.
That's okay. That's okay. So
Okay, so it's a 6.
it is a 6. Let's go back to the cameras and see what we won. On 10 plus, ask Dr. Infinity 3. On 7-9, ask 1. What are you planning? What do you want me to do? What do you intend to do? How could I get you to blank? How could I gain influence over you? What was your darkest moment? On a miss, pick 1, and you think you see how you're critical to everything Infinity wants to accomplish. Tell us how. Take guilty and shift 1 label up and 1 label down.
Well, Hector.
Do you already have guilty?
That's a great question. Let me. Too many tabs. I already have guilty. So.
All right, well, then you can't get more guilty than you already are.
Oh, thank God.
Oh.
But you're still
I don't
critical.
know.
But you are still, in some way, shape, or form, you suddenly deduce or possibly suspect or just are being a complete downer and thinking that you are critical to Dr. Infinity's ultimate plan. But you can still ask something. Their actions are such that I'm taking this sort of like this Gestalt thing that you do where you look at motions and predict things.
Yeah.
And you're looking at her moves, the things that she does, he does, they do.
I'm gonna turn this around a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
There's something about, I'm gonna go with the idea that somehow, Dr. Infinity is kind of following me around
Mhm.
because I already know that Dr. Infinity has been following me around and keeps popping up where I should be
Yeah.
or where I am. So maybe I am some critical part of all of this, and therefore I want to know, what does Dr. Infinity want me to do?
What do you want me? Ooh, that's actually going to
Oh,
almost
I want you to die.
quite simple, Mr. Bond.
Do you expect me to cooperate?
Oh, now this is
No,
mean.
Miss Chin. Expect you to die.
This is mean because you're making me come up with something on the fly.
Well, all of these are questions where you're going to have to come up with something, so
Mm.
I got the easy questions.
Okay,
Except for maybe how can I get you to?
let me think about that for a second. I gotta think about that for a second. I should have laid that on top of you, but I didn't. I was a fool. I was a fool. I had a pair of micro binoculars for bird watching in my pocket, like a fool. Anyway. All right. I'll come back to you.
Thank you,
Since
James.
everybody else is making me wait, I will make you wait. Is this everybody except for Ghost Girl? Ghost Girl's the
think
next one up?
I believe Charlotte is, in fact, the next one up.
Mhm.
Dear Ghost Girl, okay, refresh your page if you like. Dear Ghost Girl, the Magus will explain himself. And then hopefully you'll be able to get out of the stream world or force him to send you back. Roll superior. On a 10 plus, ask your humble editor to divulge his secrets. On a 7 to 9, your frustration and anger tears your fragile mental landscape apart. Pick one below.
Let's see.
Indeed, let's see. Superior. I think we broke her. Oh, goodness gracious me. Look at that.
Ha! Ha! Somebody had to get a hit.
Ha ha.
Did you roll savior or superior?
Ha ha ha! This is that one-off power she has that lets her roll savior for superior.
Right, so that's an 8. Well spotted. All right, that's fine though. What was it? Pick one. So 7 to 9, your frustration and anger tears your fragile mental landscape apart, but pick one below. Your reappearance in real space sends Dr. Infinity's bots into a tailspin of confusion. They can't understand who or what they are seeing. Take +1 for it against Dr. Infinity and their minions. One of the bots tries to grab you as soon as they sense you, but they aren't defended against your powers. You gain a critical opportunity to understand Dr. Infinity's purpose. And the shock and surprise of your sudden anger is going to stick with the mages for a long while. Take influence over him.
Ooh, tempting.
On a miss, you didn't get this. Pick one, but it isn't you that tears your mental landscape apart. It's a very angry mages. Take a powerful blow, which you don't get. Okay, so from the top,
Yeah.
Adam. I'm somewhat comforted by the fact that only one person was able to go, oh, I totally want that. Considering
All right.
how fast I had to slap these things together, or actually just slap them down.
I thought they were all interesting. I just think really fast, so
That's totally fine.
I do not think very fast. In fact, I had to go to dice in order to figure this one out.
Wow. This is a literal flip a coin situation. Holy cats.
Actually, it was roll 3 dice and take the highest, but
Sure, okay. I mean,
yeah, same thing.
same
But yeah, we're gonna go with Dr. Affinity's arrival. Right on the heel of the team tells you something disturbing about their powers and yours.
What is it?
I think. Well, I could go for. Like, there are a
Okay.
lot of options here.
Can I pause you here for a second?
You can pause me.
Okay. Save this for a second because some of the other stuff that other people might learn about Dr. Infinity and these answers might then inform what you think.
That's a good point.
Do you want that or not?
No, let's go with that.
You can be informing them or they can be informing you, but that'll give you more Lego bricks to play with. Summer already picked the gear stuff and a disapproving Alicia. Not least because for Otto to do this, he had to kind of eject everybody back into the main body of the Phoenix and like dump out. But
I actually kind of like the idea that as he's rebooting Phoenix per Alicia's request, that Summer's just knocking bots his way, and he's testing things out by smashing them.
I love it. I love it. Starfish flying everywhere.
It's like four are destroyed by a claw. He's like, yeah, that works.
Hey, all right, Harry. What did you pick? You didn't tell. We don't know even which one you picked yet.
Yeah. I'm going for scaring the hell out of Aegis.
Okay. So
you want to suffer?
no, this isn't. This simply scares them. This isn't the scare them and I need to do something. It's them going. They've never really taken Harry. They've never taken Harry completely seriously. And this will change that. Okay.
I'm finding it amusing that he didn't take the easy out with Andy.
Indeed. Okay, so it scared the hell out of Aegis. What did you do? Because that's what I'm trying to figure out. How did you get there? Or what did you do?
Okay.
Speedsters aren't known for their orbital capabilities, is what I'm trying to say.
My idea was, I know that
Oh, I just thought of something. It may not be. It's not exactly a powers thing, but it is definitely a Gale thing. But
I have an idea.
Okay.
I'm just trying to articulate it.
Okay.
My thought was I kind of slingshot my way into space.
My eyes have gone very big and fearful.
Hey, it'll work.
Okay.
Probably not. But he knows that there's a piece of tech sitting around in Aegis headquarters that'll picked up from some space villain that has a breather and a way to move around.
Okay.
So my thought is
it's not a speedster powered treadmill, just getting that out of the way.
No, it's not. I moving very quickly, grab the tech and God, this is
sort of slingshot yourself into space.
Yeah, slingshotting by doing a run around the planet to gather speed.
Jump off,
and,
Everest.
And
like a ramp.
Yeah, doing the leap with a Chase's bullet bit, charged up to get that final push through the atmosphere.
Love it. I love it. Using it like a blast off.
Like the Uncle Chase sort of technique there?
Yeah, the Uncle Chase blast.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and what's more terrifying, the fact that you can achieve escape velocity, or the fact that you can just grab stuff from Aegis like kind of at will.
We don't want him to actually achieve escape velocity, just orbital velocity.
Orbital velocity. That's fair. That's fair.
Here comes Harry! Oh, there goes Harry.
There goes Harry. Bye, Harry. See you at Lagrange. All right. So, see you at L5. Okay. So, yeah, you're doing all that. There's somewhere in the lap around the planet, you get a very tense sounding Ted Waters going, Mercury just had some speedster break into a high security vault down here and take out Nego Ryan's belt. The whole suit thing. Wouldn't happen to know anything about that, would ya? We didn't get anything on the cameras exactly, but we got some signatures. Just, you know.
I promise I'll give it back in a few minutes.
See, in another situation, it would have been really nice. Maybe in another timeline, it was one of those ones where I asked that question and you said, "Don't worry, I'm chasing him down and I'll return it shortly." See, that would have been a lot less paperwork for me, Harry. Just a couple minutes. You promise?
I promise. And it'll be less paperwork than otherwise.
I don't see how, and right about then he kind of crackles and fades out because you're going around the curvature of the planet.
I will note just parenthetically that if Dr. Infinity destroys the planet, that ends all paperwork. So you're probably adding more paperwork to his life.
Okay. So yeah, Aegis is okay. Alicia, wait, you? Oh God, this is my thing. Okay, I'm gonna jump down to Ghost Girl because that will actually no. In all seriousness, because it doesn't make much sense to. All right, so the Magus will explain. No, we didn't. We only got an 8. Maybe I don't have to do this. What did you end up picking? Oh, Charlotte hasn't decided. What did Charlotte decide?
I'm not decided yet.
Oh man, you're running out of runway. All right.
No. I can go. I just hadn't decided previously. Okay. This is really, really tempting. Particularly the second and the third one, because, on one hand, Dr. Infinity's purpose and smashing one of the bots, that would help the team. But on the other hand, having just come back from future Sepiaverse, I am more than a little, very decidedly unhappy with Mr. Magnus. And I think that he should understand that just because we're frail doesn't mean we're frail.
Words mean different things depending on how they influence. So you're choosing number 3.
Oh, I'm gonna
take influence over Magus Everard. Okay.
Sure, he has this image in his head of sweet Gigi.
Your frustration and anger tears your fragile mental landscape apart, and the shock and surprise of your sudden anger is going to stick with Magus for a long while, take influence over him. Okay. So yeah, you guys are in that gazebo and kind of down.
A little bit of banshee face in there too.
Yeah, and there's he's trying to be all cool and calm and drink his Arnold Palmer or whatever he's drinking, and the out at the edges of things, the storm clouds are brewing, and the hedgerows are rattling in the wind, and then the pitter pat of rain against the gazebo, and then harder rain, and then hail against the roof of the house, and off in the distance, rolling across the greener, the sward, as it were, coming towards you. And as the hail is hitting the ground, it's actually like turning it to mud, and the mud is like sort of shredding away into nothing. During this whole thing, he's trying to play it cool and keep up his little patter, and he's just not. And he's finally looking, and it's like, I understand that you're upset, but please try to, and he looks at you finally when he's just about to say control himself, and the words die on his lips because he realizes that's a really, really bad thing to say. And And
He realizes that.
yeah, and about the time he realizes that, the hail reaches the gazebo. The gazebo doesn't last for long. Now, the problem is that, this was sort of his concert. So there's a bit of energy stored up in this thing that kind of releases when it, sort of releases you, or when you free yourself, so to speak, from the whole whole thing. And that's a bit of a shock to the system, like a suddenly finding yourself dropped into cold water kind of thing. But bearable, certainly bearable. All right, back to Alicia.
But what is his monologue? Divulging his secrets.
No, you don't get that. That was for a 10. You were too angry to give him time to monologue.
Darn you, Savior. No,
but you still have influence over him, so you should be able to get it out of him next time. If for no other reason, I'm pretty sure there's a way you can just trade your influence for a provoke kind of thing. But if nothing else, you have influence over him, which gives you a nice bonus. You'll get your answers. But you've got influence over like one of the most powerful entities on the planet, so bonus. Alicia picked, what is it that you want me to do? What do you want me to do?
Parenthetically, I would never ask Dr. Infinity what their darkest moment was, because I assumed that
you couldn't survive the telling.
Incipient mental damage would ensue. Yes,
I packed it on there because this is essentially a Pierce the Mask, and you get those.
I get that. Yes, I don't want to pierce that deeply.
That's a mask best left in place.
It's not a mask. It's a radiation shield.
Given that, oh, this is not good. Given that she knows Charlotte Palmer's name, and she knows that they know that something was able to collapse all of the wounds in the future version. In the other version, we'll just say other, because it's all just other to Dr. Infinity. There's no future past thing. And they're not dumb by any stretch of the imagination, so they're able to put two and two together. This thing or person that I can't detect is somehow, shape or form, some entity that I can't I can't detect this person, but I know that they exist. And this thing that I can't detect or determine the location of was able to close these wounds. It wasn't a natural phenomenon. It's not hard to put two and two together and say Charlotte Palmer is doing that. And also that you know who they are, which means they're in this timeline too, which means that this opportunity is potentially going to be at risk. They have a goal in mind that requires somehow, I believe this has already been mentioned, they want the membrane between these two dimensions to collapse. They want the two dimensions to collapse into one another for whatever reason. They want that to happen. And it follows
through superheroes.
What's that? Say it again.
They're already, they already don't want our city,
messing
to exist. So, this would be a serious FU to.
Yeah, there's you sitting around and theorizing about what could be causing this is certainly potentially weird, or potentially fruitful, trying to figure out what they hope to gain from this. But if they still want that to happen, but they believe that their current plan it potentially is going to fail, because it now has at least once, they want some other way of collapsing the membrane, and that's probably you because you have some way across. So what they want, what's in your head, they want you to give up your secrets for the dimensional gate jumpy thingy that you figured out. The one that was different than Jason's. So they want your brain. Or your knowledge. Or you.
Yeah. My brain or parts thereof.
Parts thereof.
Not picky. Yeah.
The key bits for them. They want your hyper genius. No, they want, oh yeah, that would work. They've got just the right shaped jar for that.
Well then, and I need to figure out labels up and down on that.
Is that labels up and down?
I believe I had to take labels.
Oh, because that's right, you took the bottom thing.
Tell us how to. Let's see. So I think I see how I'm critical to everything Infinity wants to accomplish, i.e., I have this knowledge that Infinity needs.
Right. Yes.
So that is how. I can't take guilty. Unfortunately, that guilty and not hopeless.
Yeah.
And I will shift.
In some way, shape, or form, you can't shift what?
I can't shift danger up because danger is already at 3. I'm going to have to shift, given how I probably feel about this. I can't shift superior. Freak up, savior down.
Your danger and superior are both capped right now?
Yep.
Oh my God. Well, I mean, you're ready to shoot stuff and do a fine autopsy afterwards. Okay. So you shift what? You said freak up and...
Freak up and savior down, because...
Yep.
I am clearly freaky, and I am not just not being a savior type, I am sort of the anti-savior at this point.
Doom. Hey, I managed to doom another one of your characters. Sweet. No. All right. Adam.
Yes, I've had enough time to think about this.
Hopefully you had a few more Lego blocks there.
Well, I did, and I also decided to make. I'm going to make a decision, I'm going to make a decision that is going to probably make things more difficult for you, but I'm going to enjoy it. So I think I think that's the important thing.
I believe your priorities are in order. So.
So the I know some disturbing facts about Dr. Infinity's powers and mine. And that is the Dr. Infinity is at least powering some of her tech through Keynome power.
Okay.
And somehow, through some crazy time stuff, it is also my Keynome.
I love you so much sometimes, I swear to God. That's so good. I love all my players so much. So their Keynome, one of their Keynomes is one of your Keynomes?
I have a Keynome.
You have a Keynome and like the zest of another Keynome. Just the expressed oils from another Keynome. Because of that whole thing with
the essential energies.
The essential oils.
Fractions of infinity.
It's really Keynomes are essentially a homeopathic science, so it's the memory of the Keynome in 8 million parts water that is really the most powerful version of it. Not that I'm mocking. No, wait, yes I am. Anyway, yes, you have a Keynome plus the essential oils of another Keynome. So yeah, your Keynome is somehow their Keynome. I like it. I like it so much. And if you choose to act on that incredibly dangerous information, take +1 forward. I mean, at some point. That's not going to come up right now. Okay. So, bits of starfish floating in space. Smashing Phoenix. Somewhat functional. Somewhat functional, but at least able to smash. Leo and Arya is still kind of groggy, but slowly coming around. Alicia trying to get things back online and cursing because none of it's being held by the fact that Otto is like playing whack-a-mole with a bunch of Dr. Infinity's bots out there. And Harry flying up into the mess and like, I mean, Isaac Newton's a bit of a pain. Trying to keep, but he's basically like jumping from bits of flotsam to other bits of flotsam and like dancing around and like punching stuff. And when he's completely screwed himself up and like ends up floating out in the trajectory, he's got this sort of weird. It's not like a jetpack. It's more like a kind of a climbing harness with like
Orion's sled.
Yeah, except without the feet thing. Like I guess it is kind of a jetpack then at that point, but it's yeah, the whole thing is kind of a weird exoskeleton, but just really for flying, with like pads all over it that like sort of project gravity in various directions to move around. It's durable though, so there's that. He looks ridiculous in it, so that's a bonus. And so he's up there and does all that. And with this just this gasp that is usually reserved for television melodramas where the person who is unconscious and everyone thinks is dead finally like takes their first breath after having some sort of like heart-stopping failure. Charlotte like draws in this massive panicky thing in the inside of the Phoenix and simultaneously like goes insubstantial and is somehow still sucking in air, which suddenly becomes very, very disturbing sounding, and establishes what you realize has kind of been a sort of a very, very light context sort of connection, reestablishes a very what has been up to this point a very light touch sort of connection with all of her friends, all of these people up here in the midst of this thing, and reestablishes that it is not a light touch this time. It is a panicky, grasping, the most dangerous person in the pool is the one who's drowning, clutch at everybody who's within clutching range, which is basically all of you. And everything kind of goes white. And
Sorry.
sorry, very sorry, so sorry. I hope I don't overuse love letters because I feel like to pass things forward enough to get anywhere near prom, we're probably going to have another sort of time passage love letter here pretty soon. But we'll see. We're not going to worry about that right now. The first thing you see Leo are like gently waving leaves in sunlight, like a mid-morning sunlight, gently waving leaves, a bit of a breeze.
It's a magical place.
Cushions on a chair. Not a particularly comfortable chair, but the cushions are nice. And the murmur of a crowd, a gentle murmur, quiet murmur, a polite murmur. And you kind of look around and look, and you're kind of in a big pavilion tent, but you're like one end of it, and there's the end of the tent that you're at, the side's been drawn up, so it's kind of pulled up and bound, and you're sitting at a table and you're looking, and there are a bunch of other tables scattered around inside the tent on like what looks like somebody put together a floor here. And you're close enough to the end of the tent where the leaves, you can hear the leaves rustling and stuff. Like apparently you're kind of leaning back in the chair to kind of see all this. And there's a bit of a crowd kind of on bleacher seating off on either side of the tent, and those parts of the tent have been pulled up. And then the far end, the tent walls are down, and there's lots of weird. It's just a weird. There's a lot of tables and paraphernalia and standing appliances and stuff sort of scattered all over this area. And you look. That's looking one direction. You kind of look to your side, and sitting next to you at the table is a gently smiling Jeff Goldblum, who looks deep into your eyes and lays a hand on your forearm and says, "Hello there. Are you back now? Are you ready to get going?" It's all right. I doze off all the time too.
Where's my car?
I mean,
not a good question to have to ask yourself.
Really, where are any of our cars? What he says is, if I had a dime for every time I've woken up and asked myself, where's my car? I would have several dimes. And then couple other, and you hear kind of this groan past him, the seat on the other side of him. Or not so much a groan, it's kind of like a mutter, like, damn it, Jason. And Jason sits up in the chair on the other side of Jeff Goldblum at the table. He's wearing a tweed jacket for no reason that you've been able to ascertain. You are not in you're dressed. How, if you had been invited to play, like, let's say croquet or something, how would you dress? For somebody polite, like, was actually like relatively polite, it wasn't meant to be sarcastic, and you kind of like them, how would you dress? Not that you've been, don't infer from this that you've been invited to play croquet. You have not. We'll assume the shirt's red. But what are you wearing?
Well, I put one suggestion up in roll 20.
Oh, wait, I didn't look. I'm sorry. I keep asking the questions. Oh,
this is by far the best fever dream I've ever heard of.
Oh my God. That is spectacular. Sure, why not? Because that takes the whole fever dream thing up another notch. I need a picture of. Hang on.
Not that picture of Jeff Goldblum.
It works.
Wait, I didn't see the picture of Jeff Goldblum. He's not the one with his shirt open. Oh no. He's more closer to Jurassic Park Jeff Goldblum than Ragnarok. As much as I may love. Yeah. Oh, this is perfect. Yeah.
Here we go. I got one.
You think you've got one? Hang on. Dave's gonna pull up a. That's actually pretty good. That's actually pretty good.
Oh, the tie.
Yeah, that's kind of.
So Dave, save that image. We need that for the.
I will.
All right. Oh, that's a good tie. All right. And this kind of golf announcer voice. And you realize it's actually like a pre-recorded Jeff Goldblum, because of course Jeff Goldblum did his own intro. Hello and welcome to the. I'll make sure I get this actually right. Welcome back to another fun episode of the biggest, I guess, most popular new show on Netflix. Jeff Goldblum's, that's me, baked out of my mind. I'm your host, Jeff Goldblum, and he's waving even though he's not actually talking. And with me today for our superhero teen superstar edition as judges, Link over here, and Leo Newman, also known as Link, and Jason Quill, also known as Jason Quill. They'll be our judges for this week's competition. They don't have any knowledge of baking as far as I'm aware, and luckily neither do I. So we're just going to see what everybody can do. All right, and now let's meet our contestants. I think we all know them. We're going to be working in teams mostly today. So let's get our first team out here. And the sort of like one of the tables that had like a curtain around it, like sort of the curtain, it actually looks remarkably similar, especially at the top, to the kind of curtains that one draws around the bed in a semi-private hospital room. It's drawn up into the tent. You don't want to say where. And standing at the table, as a nice parallel to Jason and Leo, is right here we have Alicia Chin, also known as Charade, and Summer Newman. No nepotism from the judges, please. Summer Newman, also known as Radiance. They'll be working as a team today on this little bake-off challenge. Over here, we have Curtain Up, and he kind of swings his arms up. Charlotte Palmer, also known as the terrifying Ghost Girl, and Adam Amari, as also known as Concord, and both of them are kind of like in their, I guess the easiest way to say it would be their energy states. You might want to tone it down, or you might cause some unforeseen rising in the doughs. I'm not sure if that's going to actually come up. I don't know if the dough that we're using today rises. I don't actually know how any of that sort of thing works. And since we couldn't get someone from the team for this one, we debated, didn't know, is a speedster actually their own partner for a situation like this? Or do we need to have somebody else at the table? Audience, what did you think? And the audience, and you recognize faces out there. You know, there's like, you know, Kid Kelvin and No and several of the other ponies. Taz is out there. Ted Waters is sitting next to oh my God.
Agent Parker.
Agent Parker, who's done up in
Achilles Chin.
Agent Parker, he's done up in like a striped seersucker jacket with a bow tie and one of those like white carnival barker hats. You know the ones I'm talking about?
Like a white straw hat.
Yeah, like the white straw hat kind of a thing. And she's like in, you know, basically your classic 1930s British sundress for, you know, like with like a bit of a some sort of hair fascinator on, something like that. It really, for just a second, like you hear banjo music as you see the two of them sitting there. And everybody, you know, it's like, what do you think? And people are like chanting, team, 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 team. So when the curtain goes up, there's Harry, and standing next to him is a very serious looking A10.
It was either going to be A10 or Dr. Infinity, and I was really scared.
New love in the kitchen. Watch out down there. You never know what they're going to be cooking up. It's very, I don't really know where I was going with that. All right, so let's get to our first challenge. All right. What does anybody do while Jeff Goldblum sort of like before we proceed with this? Everyone got really quiet. I'm not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
We weren't sure whether we were just set pieces.
No, you're
or
actually
Leo or if we're
You're
okay.
actually all there. And yeah, no, you're all actually there. So
Are we in costume?
no. Well, I don't know. Everybody gets to, again, fever dream. Concord might shift. Ghost Girl might shift, certainly. I mean, are you in costume or not? It's up to you, really.
Actually, I'm most curious as to whether I'm armed.
Are you gonna shoot Jeff Goldblum?
Quote of the session. Are you going to shoot Jeff Goldblum?
I am probably going to shoot somebody.
I think
maybe that's the title of the session.
I think people are probably in costume because this is supposed to be the teen superhero bake-off challenge. So really, you should be in costume. Although, let it be known that Jeff Goldblum did not just out people's secret identities on national television because this is an actual thing. Jeff Goldblum's baked out of my mind. All right. So,
so just to bring the question home, if I'm in costume, I assume I am armed.
Sure, you can be armed if you want to be armed.
Well, I mean, if not, then I would be eyeing the rolling pins and cleavers and hot oil from the deep fryer and things like that. Just
Okay.
Summer's looking like, are you assessing? What are you doing?
If you shoot Jeff, I really don't recommend shooting the thing that may be responsible for us being here.
Actually, that sounds like an excellent idea.
I support the exact opposite.
Yeah, well, of course you would.
Well,
Shoot
I personally, Adam is just like, where are we?
All right, cupcakes.
Can't you genome us out of this?
That's an interesting question. All right, cupcakes. Oh, I may have spoiled the first round. That's right. First round is going to be a cupcake challenge. We have a couple designs up here. We're going to ask you to replicate them as well as you can and see if you can suss out their secrets and determine what's really going on with these confectionery delights. Your assignments have been predetermined by the judges, which is news, incidentally, to the judges. And by judges, I mean me, since, these guys are just guests. Although they do get to decide who's going to win. So you still want to be nice to them. All right. So, would you prefer let's do your superhero names. That sounds more fun. Charade and Radiance, come on down. Check out. You get to pick. You get to pick from two different cupcake designs and see what you're able to do back there at the table. And he's got a couple. They unveil it, and it's sort of the idea of I don't know, nailed it. If you guys have ever seen it, it's a really, really nice thing that you have to try to copy.
Mm-hmm.
So what you have here is, actually, I'm sort of at a loss on one of these, so I'm going to actually throw it up to our judges to see what they come up with. One of them is a cupcake design. You need to come up with at least 12 of these that are, the entire top is sort of done up with like a silvery fondant to look like exactly like the Dr. Infinity starfish. Okay, so that's one of them. This is sort of aimed a little bit to our little Miss Charade over here. And for summer, we have, so judges, what is the design? What is the thing that's sort of aimed at summer in this thing, in this challenge? What are we looking at? Still beating heart? No.
Really?
I don't know. I have no idea. I got nothing. This is difficult because our judges are also one of the players, or actually both of the players that are at this table. So that becomes kind of. I'm trying to think.
Say clueless, but
I'm trying to think what kind of thing. I'm half tempted to make it like sort of look like a sort of a coffee cup kind of deal, or a like a frappuccino flavored cupcake kind of deal, but I don't know.
Okay, that's terrifying,
Wait,
Margie.
did somebody just share something?
Fish cupcake.
Starfish cupcake. We can just stick with
Not
starfish
silverwood,
cupcake.
fortunately, but
We can imagine. There we go. Now just imagine that basically mechanical looking with an additional arm, and that's exactly where I was going with that. We'll just stick. If we don't have anything, if we don't have a good suggestion, we'll stick with the silvery starfish cupcake.
That sounds good.
Okay, silvery
For-
starfish
for-
cupcakes that's for Charade and
yeah,
and
for both of us.
Radiance to team up, work together, and see what you can come up with. All right, team number 2, Concord and Ghost Girl, come on down. This will be pretty familiar to you. Big reveal, pulls it back, and it's 12 cupcakes where the top has been designed to look like a key gnome. Like sort of. Now keep in mind, these things are very high calories. You can only eat one. I'm looking at you, Concord. So, warm yourselves up and get ready to share out the infinite power of the universe. And finally, Harry and Mercury and A10, come on down. You're going to be cooking up. Oh, I don't have anything for Harry. What am I going to do for Harry?
Peppers.
Peppers.
Chocolate, like sort of like a double, triple chocolate 5-alarm fire surprise with like a sort of a fondant like pepper on the top of it, kind of a thing. Sweet and heat. Love it. We're going to put these two things together and see what these kids can do in the kitchen. Get on over there. You have 50 minutes to take care of this little challenge and see how much cooking expertise you can bring to the table or learn. If you learn anything, please tell us because, again, I don't know what I'm doing. So go on in there. So we got all the kitchen paraphernalia, baking stuff, softly commenting narrator in the background, making comments about various things. It's a very interesting choice that they're going with there. Where they're, but yeah, there's sort of instructions on kind of these, they've got like a cookbook open to the general idea of how to make. So out of anybody here in the game, I want to clarify that.
Oh.
Who knows how to who has the least idea how to actually bake a thing?
I think Harry may know the basics.
As opposed to survive off semi-cooked crawfish, Alicia, I'm looking your direction.
Yeah. I'm thinking probably baking things in ovens and pastries and stuff like that. Well, she would recognize stuff. I mean, she's been exposed to enough things that she would recognize these things. But I don't think she's ever done any home ec stuff. But she could if she needed to because it's just chemistry.
But you've been in home ec. You've been in home ec.
That's true.
Have you guys cooked anything?
Yeah, we've learned to make salsa and all about sex.
Not helpful.
As far as they've gotten so far.
Do not mix those lessons up.
It sounds good in theory. It never works out. You get stuff in your eyes. Puffiness ensues. It's just no good there.
Harry understands how dough works.
Because pizza?
Well, because of the Gale pancake Sundays.
You've made pancake batter, and theoretically cake batter is essentially the same basic idea. And cake stuff doesn't rise because you would remember that. So that's not something you have to worry about. And you're kind of going over this, kind of listing off things. And A10 is like, oh my God, we are so dead. We're going to poison ourselves, aren't we?
Can I vote on Link as the person least likely to know what he's doing, even though he's a judge?
I mean,
A10 knows how to make Mexican food.
Yeah. She'd probably be able to there's some, I mean, every culture has like unhealthily cooked dough wrapped around a stuffing. Like every culture has that.
Yep.
Like that's just one of those things.
Sweet fried dough.
I mean, ravioli, and just proceed from there.
I'm trying to decide if Ghost Girl actually knows how to cook, or about it because that wasn't something.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel
Did
like
she cook, or or was she cooked for?
how wealthy do you have to?
For
Yeah, but how
But
wealthy?
would that be part of a well-rounded education?
Yeah, one has to wonder how wealthy.
management.
Yeah, how wealthy do you have to be to like not need to know how to, take care of a home
Whether you
in
need an
that
ID
era?
at the grocery store, yeah.
No,
Yeah.
but it's home management has nothing to do with cooking. It's
True.
knowing how much meals should cost, planning for a party of 50 people,
Yeah. Home management
Yeah.
is knowing how to hire the people that will do the cooking.
how to do flower arrangements, how to make sure that the people are seated in the right order, sort of thing. It has
Right.
nothing to do with cooking.
Okay.
Right. So
Absolutely. Sorry.
is the consensus here that Charlotte doesn't know really a spatula from a spoon?
I know where the kitchen is in
You
the
know where
house.
you know where the kitchen is. Adam?
Oh, you know that Adam's mom like enlisted his help
Oh,
into
yeah.
all sorts of cooking projects.
Has he ever decided to do one of those on his own, or has it always been like at assisting mom mode?
Oh, he is probably like, okay, I remember this part, and I saw her do something like this, and something like.
So it's more like follow the instructions and occasionally some of the instructions will suddenly be, oh, hey, I remember doing this once, kind of a thing. Okay, I'll buy that.
I mean, admittedly, it's Concord, so.
I don't know what that means relevant to baking.
At what point does his ability, or nah, power's not applicable.
Power's not applicable.
I think
That's-
what it is though it's your lack of control
Can I laugh a little
that
bit? at the
can
fact-
be reflected in the concerns about baking.
That comment was such a soul comment about the whole thing. It's like, Soul, you got any help here? Power's not applicable. Just
I have started to think about this because it's like, I think it's slightly easier to be like, what can't Concord's powers do?
bake, apparently.
Replicate food out of nothing.
Well, yeah, that follows.
Baking, like, I'm sure he could, like, quickly do stuff, I imagine.
Now here's one. Summer,
Yes.
baking.
Good at it. It's just she's very she bakes for the taste buds, but not for the digestion.
Well, that isn't necessarily a downside
In this competition.
in this competition or just in general. But
It could be she could just add more sugar, like if this is real. But yeah,
I mean,
Now, the interesting question is, does it wind up looking like a blintz?
I mean,
she is still not allowed to make them.
pastries are tricky, man. Gotta get them very flaky. You start out on your basic croissant. Once you can get that done, then you're allowed to experiment with other stuff because croissants are tricky. Plain oat croissants. I think that okay. I'm just looking at various sets here and stuff. Okay. So the baking is taking place. Everyone has their little models to do, some instructions.
It's for the phone.
You are given, each of you, the ability to phone a friend for any advice. if you're so inclined. Your table is. But
I'm
what
sorry.
you're given sort of a phone a friend emergency line. If you're completely at a loss for like what to try, because I'm curious who you think you would call in this situation.
Oh, I know who I'd call.
Who would you call, Charlotte?
I'm gonna call my friend from Has-Beens.
Oh my,
Cook.
JC?
And I'm sure that I'm sure that Concord would love to talk to her.
You need to
Hey,
make fondant for the top of the cupcake that looks like what?
Just a starfish.
No, you're doing
No.
you're doing the quinome.
What'll look like. But you gotta look at my things.
What's that?
Oh, look at my.
she put some very fun
Put my quinomes out there.
quinome cakes.
Okay, I gotta look. I didn't see that. Oh no, those are actual gnomes.
One.
You make fun of your, or you cry out against your, the keys. Those are so bad. Though,
James did a good one.
You guys, I mean, you make fun of your husband's puns. Where's James?
Hey,
Okay.
I
Yes,
did
she
an
does.
image. I did an image search for quinome, and
I
I
like
got
it.
a picture of a gnome. Therefore,
Actually, I really like James's. Those are pretty good. The gemstone cupcakes are pretty.
Yeah,
Okay.
that was what I was looking at.
Okay,
yeah.
so
wait.
what you need to do, this is basic chemistry, because you don't really want it. The fondant is a trap. Don't use the fondant. You need to do like crystallized sugar. Okay? So this is basic crystallization, some food coloring. Get that stuff on there, then mix it up. Get some buttercream down and just sort of sprinkle it. It's like basically putting sprinkles down. You just need to come up with the weird colored sugar. And go for the crystals. Don't try to do a geode or anything. Don't get fancy. It'll just look terrible.
But
And
how do we make a cupcake?
Oh my God. Are you serious? Are there instructions?
I have a question.
Sure.
Are we still can we are our comms up? Has no one looked at each other and said, "What the hell is happening"?
I don't know. I mean, I'm kind of waiting.
I'm waiting for a moment to actually turn to Radiance and say something. But,
Yeah,
I'm actually getting to that, but people were having fun with cupcakes. So
Yeah,
exactly.
I'm just letting it happen. But I know at one point, I mean,
I was going to race around the kitchen and try to communicate with people
okay.
if the comms weren't up.
So
But no, go ahead, do
Connected right
cupcakes.
now?
Ghost Girl embraces and goes for like is, and actually knowing kind of what prompted this little fever dream, it suits very well to me that Ghost Girl is the one who's sort of embracing. I'm leaving this screenshot.
Not avoiding, embracing.
I am leaving up this screenshot of the gemstone cupcakes as long as I can in the hopes that when I upload it to YouTube, that's what it grabs as the preview screenshot for this episode. Anyway, so yeah, JC's like walking you through. It's like, okay, cake batter is easy. It's and she just rattles off. It's sugar, flour, water, mix, baking soda, mix some more, get it thick, put it in the cups and bake it. Your frosting is going to be just make sure you got sugar, not salt. Oh my God.
So, Joyce,
Yes.
while Charlotte's on the phone with JC, while Adam's certainly like, JC, I want to talk to her. It's like, kind of like looks over at Jeff Goldblum, since he's him and Jason are the ones who don't fit here.
Yes.
But, is Concord getting like any sort of like emotional tinge off of either of them?
Jason is Jason as near as you can tell. He got somehow looped into this Assess the situation?
Yeah, sure.
We should do that.
I can do that. As soon as I remember what
I
I'm
will
doing.
reluctantly move away from the cupcake screen so I can get back to the dice rolling screen. Things that I never thought I would say in the Masks game. I will reluctantly move away from the cupcake screen. A 9.
Mm-hmm.
A 9. I'm going to say Ghost Girl's probably not helping right now because she's busily trying to nail down the difference between baking soda and baking powder over the phone with JC. And JC is, as near as you can tell, shouting on the other end or speaking very emphatically. Assess the situation. Roll superior on a 10 plus. Ask 2 on a 7 9. Ask 1. What here is in the greatest danger? What here is most vulnerable to me? How could we best end this quickly? What here can I use to win the bake-off? No. Twist a suit, obviously, but
Yeah. Oh man, actually, no. Can't go back and do that because I was like, man, actually, Pierce the Mask questions would have been better here, but
well,
no.
I mean,
Assess the situation.
Assess the situation. You can go into a Pierce at some point, for sure, but Charlotte seems to be very invested in this, partly because Charlotte's been like catching this stuff at the coffee shops. They have been playing on the TV, on TV and stuff like that, and she's been kind of fascinated both by the good baking and the bad baking shows. They seem to be in like equal distribution.
It's better than the alternatives.
It's so pretty and elegant.
We're gonna go very roundabout here. What here can I use to tell me what the hell's going on here?
Well, there's certain tells, somewhat depending on the level of investment that you're seeing from the people that are around you. Jeff Goldblum is 100% Jeff Goldblum, but not really Jeff Goldblum. But he's projecting vintage Jeff Goldblum. Okay, so he's probably some kind of expression of the whole situation. But Jason is Jason. He's flat out Jason. Thinking about what happened just before this and kind of pushing your consciousness back to that, Charlotte really, really strongly sort of latched onto all you guys in sort of a, drowning person in the pool kind of way. And it would make sense that if she was so desperate or so emphatic about establishing that link that she might have pulled Jason in. So that's not that surprising. Not even really that surprising. Given that comparison, you're not getting a read of actual people from the audience, basically everybody in the audience. And there's a glimmer of it from the ponies, but really more like it's really, really weak and kind of tenuous and not like directed.
Like shadows of them.
Shadows of them, or the link isn't really, if they're not here, but they may be getting some kind of subconscious like feed in. Andy isn't even that much. Andy is a projection. Andy is just part of the thing. And there's not any real, it doesn't seem to be any real malice in it. It's just, it just is what it is. It's just a construct. So, figure out what's going on here. Is there's this, you think maybe it's some sort of defensive mechanism of Charlotte's, like some sort of mental thing. She pulled everybody together and somehow you guys ended up in a baking show?
So from Concord's perspective, and I'm sure this is in the panel where the little thought bubble comes up above his head, where it's just like,
sure. Wait,
no, this is all like Concord's just being like, no, this is just all a construct made by Charlotte.
Charlotte,
she just really wants to bake stuff? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't feel quite right even when you're saying it because it's just that doesn't seem to be the kind of thing that would be.
I know, but it's just like
Yeah.
Concord's incorrect assumption of this
Yeah.
is just like Charlotte just kind of needs a quiet moment and wants to bake stuff. Okay, I'll go along with this for now. And he's just like kind of like into this whole thing.
And I say this relative to I say this relative to Concord's abilities. Charlotte's powerful. She's scary powerful, and in weird ways that are sort of orthogonal to yours, which makes it harder because they're not super easy to really grok.
We intersect on like 3 points and nowhere else.
Yeah. So, I mean, she's done some mind-blowingly powerful stuff. And sometimes in conjunction with you, but also sometimes just on her own. Sometimes by accident. So, yeah, you don't necessarily want to necessarily poke in this, at least not unsubtly, because the snapback might be not pleasant.
As in, don't wake up the sleepwalker?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Actually, that's an excellent analogy. You never know what that's going to look like. Harry, you're. Actually, I'm really, really curious. This is going to be me answering my own GM's curiosity. Since Alicia really wants to say something under her breath, and Summer really wants to say something, and they're at the same table, I'm desperate to have these guys talk. Let's find out what you guys are saying, and then Harry will probably speed intercede here in a moment and join the conversation. But so you guys are kind of making motions of cooking, but then what are you actually talking about or saying?
If this is something that's been put together by Dr. Infinity, I can't actually make this cupcake. It would be dangerous. He would learn, she would learn, they would learn something.
They would learn how to make cupcakes?
Whatever cupcakes represent for purposes of... I don't know, it's Dr. Infinity.
Careful, Alicia, your paranoid is showing.
All I know is that I know something that's critical to Dr. Infinity's plan. So being offered the opportunity to make something, especially something that looks like a Dr. Infinity device, just feels suspicious.
What if you made an anti-Dr. Infinity cupcake?
I'm imagining Alicia just like her eyes blinking rapidly as she tries to even imagine what that would look like.
That's what she would be trying to imagine.
Yeah. What would that look like? And then B, that's only what it looks like, but what does it mean? You know, what's that extra layer?
What does it mean? And what's the key part that he's actually going after? Is it really the frosting, or is it the cupcake itself and the construction of it that somehow gives them some insight into what I've done about the thing that I'm not going to think about openly because who knows who's reading my mind right now.
The cupcake itself should be safe because Summer has actually been folding all the ingredients together and kind of stirring in a mixing bowl and stuff. So
that's okay. That's Summer building a cupcake. My building a cupcake could be very, very different.
Right.
It probably will be because I don't think you've made cupcakes before, have you? You don't seem like the cupcake making type.
So who knows what I might make?
Yeah.
You might make a shitty cupcake.
While you're thinking about that, could you look around for some tinfoil or maybe something conductive? And the reason I ask is that my brain is actually in my tummy where the drone is, and if I can short out that connection, maybe whatever is controlling our minds right now will lose power over me. So could you do that for me?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
How about a temperature probe? Would that?
Oh, it's like 110 volts. It's fine. Just anything will do.
Okay.
The cupcake liners, every third one is made out of tin foil. You have no idea why, but it's like paper, tin foil, paper, tin foil in the little package of cupcake liners that you've been given to use for
I was thinking it just might be kind of faster to,
Oh yeah, temperature probe.
stab with the temperature probe,
I mean,
but as opposed to swallowing a
I mean,
a tinfoil
yes,
cupcake thing. But
yes, much easier to stab with the temperature probe. I am utterly unsurprised that that's Alicia's go-to move. Where
Stab sounds so violent, though. Couldn't it could just be like, use...
insert temperature probe as directed.
That sounds dirty. Can we avoid that as well?
Oh my god. Harry?
No, sometimes a cigar is just a cigar.
What's funny is I misheard that whole thing right there. I said Harry, and I thought the was Harry going, nope. Like, I'm not going anywhere near this conversation. Abort. I actually don't want to talk to any of these people.
So GM, the short version is like if you decide to do this, Summer's trying to short out the mind control by technological means. But
sure.
There's that.
I absolutely am on board with that. Harry, you're kind of coming up to the table as Alicia's like, okay, I've got the probe. Where do you want me to stab you? And don't say stab me. Just put it. It's like it's an abdominal thing. And they're apparently discussing how to stab Summer with a temperature it looks like an ice pick. But they're being very genteel about it. Very matter of fact about it. So, and the whole time that this is happening, like Summer is like still mixing batter.
Well, if this doesn't work, we still want cupcakes.
What do you do, Harry? Or say?
All right.
What were you going to ask or say to people? You were running around trying to establish or chat with everybody.
Does anyone have any idea why Jeff Goldblum is having us make cupcakes?
It's Dr. Infinity.
Yeah, Alicia has a theory. You should listen to her.
It's Dr. Infinity in some fashion, trying to get something out of me.
That's a bit full of yourself, don't you think?
I didn't volunteer for this, believe me.
I'm not saying you're crazy, but you sound crazy. I like that. It's a bit full of yourself. So
James for saying exactly what I was thinking.
I like it. Yeah, Alicia's when finding herself on a baking show hosted by Jeff Goldblum, her go-to is Dr. Infinity is doing this to me specifically.
Okay, to be fair, I just got a love letter that instructed me that Dr. Infinity wants information out of my head.
That's true.
And I'm key to some part of their plot, and we've just been fighting Dr. Infinity robots and portals through space and stuff. So it's not like one Saturday morning I woke up and decided that Dr. Infinity was peering at me through the TV.
Yes.
Yeah, but it's so much more fun to tease you about it.
The best paranoid conspiracy theories are the ones with lots of corroborating evidence. There's a it doesn't matter. There's a book series where like there's an entire culture that doesn't think men have anything to do with the conception of children. Culturally, like it's just a thing women do because we're not like animals. Animals, you're making arguments. We're not like that. And the guy who's like medically trained from another culture is trying to convince them and finds he can't come up with a coherent argument. It was like, well, when this happens, then you get babies, but not all the time. But well, okay, I have sex all the time, but that doesn't, it doesn't happen all the time. Okay, but and he just keeps going like that, and he can't actually. So he ends up coming off kind of ridiculous for arguing for, standard biological conception, because he realized he can't actually come up with good arguments for it in the face of disbelief. Never can.
That's because the human body is really weird.
Indeed it is. All right, so Harry, so you've heard that theory. What do you do?
It could be any number of bad guys doing mind control, or it could be we all got sent into some weird alternate universe, or any number of things. But no, you decided it was Dr. Infinity, and now you're going to stab Summer?
I think, to be fair, stabbing Summer is Alicia's go-to. So, like,
You're on mute. You're on mute.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's not like it's something that hasn't occurred to me before outside of this context, but oh, did I say it out loud?
Also, technically, stabbing Summer was Summer's idea, but
I'm the one that mentioned the pro.
the pro.
I think we're gonna she wasn't gonna stab herself with.
That's fair. Not stabbing, shorting out.
I just thought this would be more direct. Yeah, more direct.
I mean, if you have to short out a robot, why not also stab it just for the satisfaction of it? Okay.
I'm shorting out a robot inside a robot.
I think this is the time where I go and talk to Adam.
Okay.
Adam and Ghost Girl, and leave this table to...
I don't want to be here when whatever you're about to do, you do. Yeah, go on over to Adam, and Dave, I'm going to have you roll Unleash Your Powers. Summer can help.
Unleash my power.
Harry has made it very clear that he is not going to help. But before you roll, let's go over and see what Harry is going to say to Adam.
Yeah, and I'm sure it's just like, don't worry, Charlotte. I think we're going to do really great with these cupcakes. JC gave us great advice, and I think things are going to be great. But if you think I'm going to ruin things, just let me know now.
Harry,
and I'll let you take care of things.
Harry, what is the first thing you say as you come up to the table?
Please tell me none of you are going to stab each other here.
Well, Mercury, why in the world would we want to do that?
And she's...
Is Andy really that angry at you?
Andy's over there like she's got like baking chocolate, dark chocolate, milk chocolate.
I'm helping some. I'm bringing her ingredients in between stuff.
Apparently crushing habanero peppers.
Then why is she gonna stab you?
The other table.
Why is Summer gonna stab you?
What have you done, Harry?
I mean,
why does everybody want to stab you?
I personally object to the idea that when Harry said the other table, your go-to assumption for who was going to do the stabbing was Summer, not Alicia. I mean, what? How?
It's always the nice ones, though.
I just assumed that, Alicia is casually in stabbing mode all the time.
Yeah. So it wouldn't really bear remarking on, but it would, the other one would get Harry's attention.
No, I think it's like, what'd you do where Summer? Oh, Alicia's also at that table. That makes sense.
That makes more sense. So 2 rolls here that I want to get to. Dave, let's have your Unleash Your Powers.
Sure.
Let you freak out and stab Summer. Oh, look at that. Look at you. With your 0. Oh, man, you are conditioned to the wazoo right now. If that was a 0.
That was a 0.
Do you have conditions? I'm just curious.
I have conditions, but nothing that goes against my freak.
You just have a 0 freak. That was because you raised your freak.
Yes, I raised my freak.
Wow, holy moly!
That's because somebody kept dropping my freak down as part of their influence on me.
That's funny. All right, so that happened. Meanwhile,
I was dropping your danger down.
So, Concord, I would like you to hang on. I gotta look at Harry's little thing here. funny. All right. I'm gonna look at. Yeah. I would like you, with your little speech that you did, if you're so inclined, to roll a comfort and support for Charlotte.
Well, I was leaning into my team move of opening up, but I'll definitely do that too.
I mean, the opening up thing that works too, but at this point, it feels like what you're trying to do is make her more comfortable and make her feel safe and good.
Yeah, this ain't gonna go well.
You never know.
Oh wait, it is gonna go well.
Is it? Oh,
I have
now you jinxed it.
Oh
dear. How did you get a -2?
Well, I'm insecure. Or, no, I'm angry. I have a -1 mundane, and I only got to cancel that out with my influence over Charlotte.
Oh my God, that is astounding. Okay. All right.
This is why I wanted to lean into my opening up first.
I see. What did that do? Clear one of your own conditions?
It can possibly clear a condition.
I see. All right. So you're trying to comfort and support, but
And you decide the best way of doing that is to get in her face and go booga 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 booga.
He had said what tell me again what you were saying to her right then.
Oh no, it's like I think we're gonna do great. These cupcakes are gonna turn out fine. You got great advice from JC, but if you think I'm gonna ruin things, just tell me to back off.
Well, why would I think that you would ruin things? I mean, you're great. I rely on you a lot.
So, Charlotte.
Ooh.
So while you're saying this, you're saying what makes sense to say in this situation, but you're getting behind it flashback flashes that don't match up with this reality that you're currently in. Well, for one thing, being up in space with him before when you were kind of scary and far away from the world, and the sort of the spirit maelstrom and the time tunnel, but then him leaving and the Kenome, like the little example cupcake thing that you're working from, kind of flashing back and forth between that and like a real live powered thing. Except you're not seeing it so much as seeing it inside him. Like you can see kind of through him and see it sort of floating there in the middle of him. But all the things that you're sort of looking away from right now, and at the same time sort of protesting that, no, there's no reason I should be worried about you or worried about anything. I'm just fine. We're all just baking here. It's fun. It feels very insubstantial and not enough to cover up all of the things that are happening right now. And it's very, very close to the surface, and it feels like it might come loose. Before I have you take a powerful blow and see how well you can ride out that stress, we're going to cut back to Summer for a second. Hey, Summer. You had Alicia short out the connection between the body, basically, and
between my brain and the rest of my body for a short amount of time. Yeah,
for a short amount of time. Okay, so you are now in the baking tent. You are still stirring, still smiling, but the look Alicia, is her facial expression becomes a lot more sort of, I don't want to say vacant, but there isn't that look in her face of, I'm doing this thing while I'm actually thinking about something else. She is entirely now just Summer baking. Okay? So you disconnected something. Summer, you are in some kind of, hang on, I need a picture.
Trouble?
Hang on. Game loading, please wait.
I hate these expansion packs. They always take so long to load.
Right? Yeah, this will work well enough. What? Ugh. I found the picture and it's like, nope, you can't. Nope, doesn't want to load. All right. A little bit too creepy. Ah, that'll work. There we go. Oh, yeah, okay. Seriously? That's exactly what I want. Nope, you can't. You're getting one on one. Come on. Load up. You can do it. Really? All right. Doop, 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 doop. All right. Link.
Yes.
Sorry. Link in the chat.
Okay, so creepy hospital. Good times.
Yeah. I wanted to get an image to kind of illustrate the thing. You're in one of the beds. Are you like undocking? Is that basically what you're doing? Or what
She
it look like?
would have had to do that for this operation, so yeah.
So somehow, I'm trying to worry about what the mental gymnastics of this is. You and Alicia, in some sort of connective way, managed to trick your body into thinking that the short out had happened so that you could undock from your body. And it's still very tenuous because the link is to mind, and this is still your mind. But shunting out of your body, at least for a little bit here, is allowing you to at least sort of see your surroundings. What do you do?
So we're in a hospital.
Hospital, but it doesn't necessarily look like a hospital. It looks like a medical facility. It does not feel like a hospital. It feels like, some sort of care facility.
A medical bay?
Yeah, it feels like some sort of care facility inside some other thing. And you'd be hard pressed to put your finger on what it is, but it doesn't feel like you're in a hospital.
Like a care ward inside of if you were doing like disease control or something like that, this is where you put the patient.
Sure.
There's labs and other stuff going on.
Yeah, there's other things. Like this isn't the sole purpose
of you're stuck inside an ageist facility and they need to.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, care ward inside of some other care ward inside of some other thing, definitely.
Okay.
What
are the rest of us here?
Yes. Yeah, everybody. Okay, so Jason, Link, Arya. Actually, no, not Arya. Arya's here, but she's hey, bonus. Arya's here, but she's not out. She is She is sitting next to Link's bed. So in the people, rather than going on through the list, everybody except for Andy who's cooking or a judge, with the exception of Jeff Goldblum, is in a bed here, including Jason. So Charlotte, Adam,
Corporeal or
etc.
non-corporeal?
Corporeal. Comfort.
It never works.
Comfort.
Okay. That's really weird, but Summer's going to try to go to the people that she knows best who can think their way out of difficult situations. That honestly right now would be Leo, but honestly also it would include Alicia.
Okay. So you float over to her, or what do you do?
Yeah, so we're going to try to see if we can help them regain consciousness or otherwise figure out and diagnose what's going on.
Shove a temperature probe
in Leo's case, it's easy. If this were the real Leo, he would have a chip that I don't necessarily have the ability to scan, but that would have like a readout on him. If there's equipment here, I could plug it in. But yeah, by hook or by crook, I'll try to figure out what's keeping these people in this state that I assume is going on.
Right.
But I'll try to wake them up.
Okay. So they're psychically linked by Charlotte. That's the meta level thing. I'm giving you that information primarily not because Summer would suss it out, but because it may be useful grist for whatever it is you try next, or how you narrate it working. You're basically the floating lozenge right now, or are you projecting your body?
She would project herself. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. Going to cut back into the baking show for just a second. Charlotte, things are getting a little scary back behind the baking thing that's going on. What I would, let's find out how you're dealing with that stress. So I would like you to roll conditions and take a powerful blow, as all the stress of everything that's being laid on you is trying to come home to roost. Oh dear.
So.
Oh dear. All right. That's not necessarily. No, it's bad. I take that back. It's terrible. Okay. Take a powerful blow. When you take a powerful blow, roll conditions marked. On 10 plus, choose one. You must remove yourself from the situation, flee, pass out, etc. You lose control of yourself or your powers in a terrible way. I just had this image of like Jeff Goldblum crossed with like, I just thought of the one thing that could never hurt us, the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. Anyway, you lose control of yourself or your powers in a terrible way, or two options off the 7 to 9 list, which is stuff like your opposition gets an opportunity, provoke a teammate to foolhardy action,
mark more conditions,
mark even more conditions, all that kind of stuff.
So my thought is a flight response would be that she actually sinks into the realm.
Sinks into the shadow realm?
Not into the CBverse, but just in
into
in other words, if somebody was watching her, she would just like sink through her bed, sink through the floor, just sink down until she's
okay. All right. So that is how are we reading it? Lose control of yourself or your powers in a terrible way. Okay. Oh boy, this is
like something.
What's that?
Sounds like an effective.
Yeah, I think that. I mean, I can certainly ride that out. All right, so
where people really can't necessarily touch me.
How
That kind of sounds like fleeing too.
Yeah, except I think I'm going to have her take everybody with her. Oh, well, actually, yeah. So how do you, Sean, how do you see it? You must remove. Are you removing yourself from the situation by fleeing, or are you losing control of yourself or your powers in a terrible way? The fleeing
It
thing,
was the fleeing.
fleeing is going to be, yeah, you'll be hanging off by yourself. Losing control of your powers in a terrible way is you're going to start to slide. You're going to start to slide, but you're pulling everybody with you. So there's more. It's potentially harmful for a lot of people, but there's also potential for them to stop it. The fleeing thing, you're not going to harm everybody else, but you're also probably going to flee, and then we have to figure out, like, we're going to play Where's Waldo with Charlotte a little bit.
It was the first one was my initial thought on it, but
Uh-huh.
I leave it up to you as to which one
Oh, I'm not gonna.
fits your thought.
I'm fine with either one. So it's sort of like what feels. Everyone's kind of in Charlotte's connection right now. So if you kind of flee away from that, that says something about Charlotte, where she flings everybody kind of away from her and runs off into the shadows. That's one thing. If she sinks into her safe space and keeps all of her human security blankets with her, that says something else. So that's I'm not picking one of those, one or the other. I think both of those are awesome and interesting. So I leave it up to the player.
I'll just ask: does Charlotte see herself enough as part of the team to take them with her, or does she want to get away from them? Are they part of the problem?
Ooh, that's another way of looking at it. Another
Yeah, I mean, when you put it that way, I think it would be the others that Charlotte would take them with her in a bizarre way of protecting them from whatever the situation was.
Get away from this thing. There's a lot being laid on Charlotte's shoulders right now, and yeah, we are teen heroes here, right? So
not like the sepia verse, alternate sepia verse was,
yeah, there's a lot.
Any fun for Charlotte?
There was some pretty heavy stuff out there. What did you say, Dave? I missed what you said.
I was gonna say almost like a savior role.
It's like a savior role. Okay, so
I must drag them with me into the shadow realm.
Yes.
They're on good.
Well, yeah, savior. I'm gonna save them all. Down and Noble, beginning with Down and Noble. Okay. So back to Summer, who is. What are you? What are you doing? I mean, are we going the route of defibrillators? Are we going the route of adrenaline to the IV drip?
We could start with that. I left a meta suggestion in Roll20 chat, and I'll summarize again. Leo remembers the HHL meeting where Charlotte immunized us to external mental influence by networking us together. Now, he may not realize what's going on, but subconsciously, if he's capable of even sleep talking, he might get that far. Or Summer might have realized from what he had told her about that time that maybe Charlotte could help in this kind of scenario. And so either of those alternatives would drive her to focus on Charlotte specifically. So if you're okay with that, I can jump into something.
I mean, yeah. If the thing is here, would you realize that the source is Charlotte? I think that's not a very.
The thing is that this doesn't require her to realize the source is Charlotte. Only that Charlotte would be relevant to this situation.
Right. So a couple different options here. I'll let Summer pick out what she would immediately think of. Concord's powerful, and if you can get him going, whatever this is, you can. That's a big lever to use on whatever else is going on. So there's that. You seem to, for whatever reason, because of the pairing inside of the baking thing, seem to have the strongest link, or you're being allowed, I guess, the strongest link to Alicia. So there's that to leverage theoretically. And then there's, as you say, the thing with Charlotte, like this is a mental thing. And Charlotte's been good at that, so trying to pull her out of it may be maybe the move. So,
I honestly think that's how it feels, how logically it feels.
like you start to go to Alicia and then go, no, wait, Charlotte would be the,
Yeah, yeah. And if there's adrenaline or if there's some kind of stimulant here in this facility, real or not, hopefully it would have the usual effect. So yeah, she could measure out a stimulant and try to apply it.
I love the real or not.
Because I think you had said Charlotte was corporeal, so this ought to work.
Yeah, she is. Yeah, she is right now. I love the real or not. Like this is just another layer. Like it's not just
Inception.
It's an Inception thing. I have to share. I know we're getting close to time, but I have to share. My daughter may have achieved maximum social media inception this last week. On Snapchat, there's a filter that if you point at somebody and they move their mouth, it makes their mouth really big and kind of frog-like, and their eyes like big anime eyes. So she took Snapchat, turned the camera outward facing, grabbed her iPad, turned on YouTube onto Vine compilations of a person that she particularly thinks is funny over there, played Vine compilations on YouTube, looked at it through the Snapchat filter on her phone, and was recording that, and then live broadcast that Snapchat output to a live broadcast on Instagram to share with everybody. So it was a live Vine to YouTube to Snapchat to Instagram nesting. It's like 4 layers.
That is way too much effort.
Right. And I don't even think that she realized how like ridiculously complex it was. But yeah, it was like 4 layers of Inception.
I'm going to retweet that.
Thank you for giving layer 5. Oh my God. All right. Anyway, so yeah, I'm gonna. I think this. I mean, I feel like this is unleash your powers. Or
well, conveniently, Freak is 3, so yeah, I'm on board with that.
Yeah, I mean, the only other thing I would think would be maybe defend, kind of. But defend is on savior, and I'm not.
But I have a move that says I can reveal my secret ID or mark a condition to defend a loved one as if I'd rolled 12 plus.
I like that. I like that a lot. Okay. All right. That's a heck of a fun move.
Yeah, it is. I had it for a while.
So for some reason I don't know. I kind of like the sort of jury-rigged defibrillator thing, or just a defibrillator or something like that to shock her. I'm not sure about. Well, no, there's always like the emergency drawer of like somebody's going into cardiac arrest.
It'll be in the crash cart.
With the crash cart and the kind of thing. So as you're doing, it's like you're kind of looking and deciding what to do. Like, we're going to make a careful thing. You feel a massive undertow kind of pull to yourself. Like you're being pulled, and the area around you kind of fades out, and you start to see the tent around you. And at the same time, you're seeing everybody else kind of fade too. So the urgency of the situation has become much greater because something's happening. So I guess rush to the crash cart kind of thing. What feels like what you want to be doing here? Tell me what happens. Because you're taking 12, so you're gonna shock the hell out of Charlotte.
Yeah, like if there's a crash cart here and it seems indicated, then yeah, she would use it. Like she's not like a doctor, but she knows enough about anatomy, thanks to Leo and her own studies, to know like what correct action is. So if the defib is indicated, she would definitely use it.
When you're studying human forms, you get really good at human forms. Not necessarily the defib or adrenaline.
She's watched Pulp Fiction, so she knows how to
I
stab in the chest.
I put the appropriate screenshot in Roll20 as well.
Oh dear. Oh God. All right. So just for the purposes of narration, are we going the way of like plunging syringe into the chest or
Oh God,
I like the symmetry of the syringe actually.
Oh yeah, because of the
probe.
The thermal probe.
Yeah.
Stabs all around.
This is our chemical kick from Inception. So
okay. So what's the conditioning pickup from this? Guilty because you got to stab Charlotte in the chest. I mean,
I'm actually going to say afraid because
that's scary.
Like
yeah.
suddenly the fate of the entire team feels like it's on her shoulders.
Yeah, I buy that. Okay, so you take a condition and you take a 12 on defend. Is that right?
That's correct. Yeah.
So you're basically defending the team. All right. Just so I know, we're gonna defend. Okay. Hang on. So Charlotte rolled. Charlotte rolled an 11, and when you're defending against a PC threat, which Charlotte is right now, you give her a -2, which pushes her down from an 11 down to a 9, which is not as horrific in terms of results. Okay. All right. So which takes us away from the losing. So in the baking tent, baking has been happening. Andy's been talking to you, Harry, but she's not saying anything substantial. You know, the conversation doesn't go anywhere. She's saying very Andy-like things, but it's all sort of like empty patter. Concord, you're seeing, so outside the tent, the sky gets dark. Again, we kind of see this storm cloud type of thing, but instead of like gray storm clouds, they're kind of brown. They've got that sepia toned look of the, you know, the wasted, you know, alternate dimension kind of stuff. But you still see this, you know, the swirling storm clouds, and there's, you know, precipitation, there's rain coming down, hail, that kind of stuff. But it's also like dust in the air, dirt flying, and bits, unpleasantness, and the tent starting, and people in the crowd are kind of looking up, and it's all getting bad. And at the same time, it's getting a lot darker, a lot faster. And your thought is like, this is clearly, my words did not have the intended effect. Were you planning? What was the other thing you were trying to do? Reach out or open yourself up, or what was that?
When you share a vulnerability or weakness with someone.
Yeah, but right now, it just feels like, and what you're saying with Charlotte is that she just keeps mixing, and she's sort of fixedly looking down, and she's sort of mixing into this bowl, and and she's stirring the batter, and she keeps stirring, and the rhythm of it and the stirring of it is really kind of echoed in the sky up above, like the swirl of the storm and the building what looks like a eye of a storm center, or maybe a tornado or something.
Kind of like what we saw in the sepia verse.
It's kind of like you're seeing it, but it's echoed by the stirring that you're doing. And honestly, what's even in the bowl is kind of starting to look like that. Like it doesn't look like dough anymore. It looks, or batter anymore. It looks like that, like a storm in the bowl itself. Alicia, after Summer went kind of vacant, this is a matter of seconds, really.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do, if anything?
You know, at that point,
it seemed to have worked because she's not there.
Yeah, which is good. my immediate instinct is to protect her and make sure she's not interfered with.
Okay. And very, very quickly you see that the conditions outside are not getting particularly good there. But, and you actually feel
things are not looking good, Summer.
Well, the lights drop, and the lighting drops. It gets very dark. It's very, very cold, and you actually see like a different space, and not a familiar space, but a different space kind of start to fade in. Fade in around you, and I'm going to look for, and probably not quickly find, those little crazy shadow world images that I'm not going to try to dig for right now because, don't have that kind of time. And that kind of fade, that's not a good look. Reminds you, actually, very, very reminiscent of when sort of Ghost Girl was helping you guys get back through from the Sepiaverse back in. And this, but still almost like being pulled down into a whirlpool kind of a thing. So it's not a good feeling at all. Harry, what do you do? Or who do you get? I mean, I'm more getting your reaction. You don't need to actually like sort of take any specific action as much as just sort of get your reaction as to what's going on here.
Are you on mute?
No, I'm
what's that?
just thinking.
Because what you're seeing outside is very, very much like the Sepiaverse, like the bad parts of the Sepiaverse stuff.
It's very concerning.
Yeah. And like it followed you? How could it follow you? It was like,
I think that's going to make me kind of head over to the Charlotte Adam table, since Charlotte was so intertwined in the Sepiaverse with the giant ghost swarm attack.
Right. And just you're kind of zoom over there, and just as you get to the table, she kind of like stands like suddenly really, really straight, and she has, your first thought is Alicia stabbed her, because she has this thing jutting out of her chest, silvery kind of. It's like she stabbed her with a temperature probe. I thought she was going to stab Summer with a temperature probe. Why? Where is she even at? Did she throw it? How could you throw a temperature probe? And then you realize
I can throw a temperature probe if need be. Just
trust me.
saying.
I can make it. What are you implying? I can't make it a lethal weapon? I can make anything a lethal weapon. What are you talking about? But it's not. It's like a big syringe. Like, and Charlotte's kind of looking at it. Kind of in shock, as you kind of feel yourself kind of go cold, but when this happens, all of that kind of snaps back into focus, and snaps back so hard that not only does the sort of shadow world sepia imagery kind of fade out, the tent actually fades out, and you see, instead of like the white of the tent surroundings, the white of like these, the infirmary surroundings. And you're looking kind of up at the ceiling, but looking around, you feel fine. You don't feel like you've been sick or anything like that. You feel perfectly, basically normal, if not, I guess, groggy from waking up from a nap in the middle of the day, kind of a thing, where you woke up too soon. Like that. I feel
that.
Like, yeah, I suppose right now you probably, that's your whole life. So there's that kind of grogginess you're fighting off, but you're basically up, and there's sort of a flickering. There's some interference here, so there's sort of a flickering Summer standing over Charlotte, and still the big needle thing still buried in, stuck in Charlotte's chest, and her going, please, please, please work, please work, please work, please work. Um, I think you're probably the first one kind of quote unquote on their feet in turn, as far as anything else goes. What do you do? And you see everybody's basically in the beds, that kind of stuff. There's that the monitor beeping, like there's an alert going off, like somebody disconnected their leads, wee 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 thing that's probably whistling at some nurse's station somewhere. What do you do?
I move I block the door.
Okay. Ooh, interesting. So getting over to the door, you block it by piling stuff in front of it really, really fast, because they're basically just the kind of doors that you can roll a rolling bed through in a hurry, kind of thing, the double swinging things, but so you just kind of pile stuff up in it. You do get a chance to look out through like the glass and the doors, and it looks like there's it doesn't really look like a hospital hallway, although it does look like it's good for hospital equipment. But you definitely see some guards out there, or something, sentries, who knows, dudes in like tactical gear and that kind of stuff, and they're looking like around, like they can, and they're kind of looking down the hallway. There's some people shouting down that way. You just like, we're gonna sort all this out in a little bit. In the meantime, build a barricade, which you do with great alacrity. Okay. And you guys are all kind of coming to, groggily in most cases. Leo, the last thing you see as you're waking up is as the tent is fading out around you, is Jeff Goldblum kind of smiling sadly and going, I really wanted to taste that cupcake. Oh well, next time.
I'll shove it in his face.
Last thing you do, cupcake in Jeff Goldblum's face. Yes. And you guys are, again, back in the infirmary, sort of groggily waking up, seeing each other, the various tables. Charlotte seems to have gone incorporeal. She's still there. Obviously the needle kind of falls through her onto the bed. She's kind of there, but the sheets kind of, they're no longer there. She's just kind of on the bed, sort of. She's clipping a little bit. Charlotte, as programmed by Bethesda.
That clipping.
We got bad clipping, very bad clipping. And I think we're going to stop there. With you guys woken up. An unknown amount of time has passed. We'll see. So, I want to see building a barricade. Oh my word. Love it.
To be fair, James did get one posted first.
Ha!
I like that one though. Wow, that's a heck of a barricade scene. All right. So. Oh, and Charlotte, that's not, you're going to have everybody needs to comfort and support Charlotte next session.
Give me another condition.
Well, I'm going to go with the option on the 7 to 9 of take two conditions. Because it bounces you down. So you're kind of full up. You're loaded. Everyone must comfort Charlotte next session. Tell her it's not her fault.
And be very careful what
Tell her she couldn't
They
have.
say
what labels on her you push around.
Like if you'd had her wake up first thing I would have like just pulled her into a hug. But yeah, we can do that next time.
Yeah, Charlotte, you may not want to go closer to the team because you don't want to give influence to anybody who might shift your labels this session. On the other hand, you could clear a condition by giving somebody influence. So, worst case scenario, if she gives influence to somebody, worst case scenario, she ends up in the exact same situation that she's in right now. Best case scenario is she gets to clear a condition for giving potential, and then they don't, who knows? Who knows? Who can say? The problem is the odds of somebody raising something that's already wanting to raise something on her that's already raised is.
Well, I know that I only have one thing maxed and one thing locked right now.
Right. You only have one thing maxed. What's locked? Oh, you only have one thing maxed, but looking at what's just happened, what are people likely to raise on you? So.
Savior, right? Savior.
No. I'm just saying the odds of people wanting to raise the thing that's already maxed out are really high right now. Because,
A negative mundane coming my way.
Yeah. Oh, that's lower mundane. Anyway, all right.
But you were baking. That's pretty mundane.
Very mundane. We'll raise mundane and lower danger. No, I don't know.
Put my Jeff Bloom does concern look on the
Oh God.
on the Discord page, along with the summer 18.
Beginning with summer. We'll go in love letter order. Beginning with summer. Summer. Grow closer to the team. Grow further away from the team. Grow more into your own image of yourself.
Closer to Alicia because she helped with my plan.
Yay.
You grew closer to someone who stabbed you.
Well, their relationship is very complicated.
It was consenting.
It was consenting stabbing. Do you already have Alicia? Do you already have influence over Summer?
Of course I do.
Proceed accordingly. All right.
Yay.
Yay. All right. Concord. Closer to the team, further away from the team, more into an image of yourself.
We will say closer to Charlotte,
whom I'm sure has influence over you.
Yeah, so
Charlotte, by all means, shift Concord's labels, or at least say which labels you would shift if you had the means to.
And then I will ask the question here. Doyce, do you think that I took some foolhardy action by, after realizing this was all in Charlotte's mind, just sort of like playing along and being like, okay, no, this is fine?
I think it's fair to call it foolhardy, yes, because the sleepwalker is sleepwalking, so let's just go along and role play with her and see if she leads us to the buried treasure kind of thing is probably not the best way to go.
Yeah, clear and secure.
I actually have the same question for the same condition, but I did the reverse. I'm like, I shorted out my own brain.
That's pretty foolhardy.
I would definitely say, hey, could you please stab me in my brain so I can try to help with this? Clear and secure.
It seems to me that like being the center of all of this, somehow I should be, clearing a condition, but
Hold on. You tried to run away from something difficult, and you did hurt somebody, or you did break something important. Reality. Reality is pretty important.
I don't know if it was a conscious choice, though. Those were all kind of results of the rolls. What?
Ooh, actually, she did fling herself into some easy relief with doing baking.
That is true. I will buy the easy relief thing of saying I want to be on one of those charming little baking shows.
That's hopeless.
Right,
that's a good one to move for that.
You can clear hopeless because your friends did stick with you, and that's a good thing to get rid of hopeless with. Harry, closer to the team, further away from the team, more on the image of yourself.
I don't know. All I got was people stabbing each other.
No, you stole the thing. You went into orbit. That was amazing.
That was cool. More into image of yourself? You can
Oh
do that.
yeah, there was. I forgot there was the part before the baking
There's
show.
a part before the baking show. There was that whole thing before the baking show. I mean, that's
Before, and then there was the baking show.
I mean, I like that as an image of yourself thing because it sort of establishes there. It's like I am my own person. I will occasionally steal stuff from Aegis, even though I'm not even supposed to know that they have it, let alone know how to get it, let alone be able to get it. Is kind of.
You know, my parents took down the guy, so
I'm not saying there isn't a legitimate reason for you to know all this stuff. It's just like Aegis hasn't like ranked you as a potential stealing ship from us threat, and that's kind of a fun.
And now they have.
And now they do. You think about it. See what you think.
yeah.
Alicia.
See, the director of Aegis was like, it's only a matter of time. And when this happened, he's like, there you go.
There you go. It's a game.
No, I feel like Waters was the one who figured it would happen eventually, given all the stuff our team pulls.
Yeah, I mean, well, I don't know that
Like-
Waters doesn't ever expect anything to happen, but he's rarely surprised by any of it happening. Alicia, what do you think? Closer, further away?
I think definitely I have to go closer to Summer because she like
Trusted you to stab her?
A seemed to be by my side half the time here, and B trusted me to stab her. Does that count as like hurting someone?
No,
Breaking something
because
important?
you were doing that. That's
I wasn't
more-
doing it out of anger. I know.
Yeah, you weren't doing it out of anger. And that's
Okay.
that's notwithstanding the original frustration that you had with her up there superheroing.
True.
Earlier on, which I think is interesting too. Okay, so Summer
I
influence over
I
Alicia.
bet it could have been cathartic all the same.
I'm not doubting that. Alicia has robot issues. All right, so influence to
Influence to Summer.
and finally Ghost Girl. I mean, there's a lot going on here.
Except for I was unconscious for most of the battle.
Well, but you weren't though. You were dealing with what's his name? The mages.
With Everard, but
All the interactions that you had with people were interactions that you had with people, even if you were technically dreaming.
I think that both the thing with Everard, which is an individual thing, and just how the thing went
Shook out
with
in
the
the baking
baking,
thing.
that I'm probably farther away from the team.
Okay. We hardly
And
ever do
I
that. What
know.
do
I
you
had
do?
to look up what it means.
Yeah, it's been a
I
while.
have to take influence away from somebody.
Oh, who loses influence over you?
No, but
What was that? I missed it.
I said, I love you, Adam, but you suck at comfort.
Yeah.
Nope. That is fair.
It makes
But I did
yeah.
give you a plus on your main mundane, so next time you won't suck as much.
I
Assuming
will
it's not
definitely give
locked.
it a try.
Yeah. I need him to comfort and support me, so I'm going to raise his mundane this session.
Hey, my mundane's higher, and I'm no longer angry.
Yeah, see?
That is like +3 over what I was rolling before.
That's great. Yeah, and that's fair. He was the one who kind of like tried to comfort and support, ended up putting you into that final little like fear spiral that led everything to go kind of pear-shaped anyway. So that makes perfect sense. Harry,
It plays out well because you know that he's gonna have influence back over me soon enough.
in
So.
a nonce. But Harry, what did you decide on?
Yeah, I went for more into image of self
Okay,
with raising, freaking lowering, superior.
I like it. That's a very Harry thing.
Ooh.
And certainly the
I
free.
did not assess the situation that would occur if I just went
No.
in and stole crap
I'm just
from
gonna use-
Aegis.
I'm going to use my powers and I'm going to throw myself into orbit and hope I learn how to steer when I get there. No, that's not superior. That is definitely just unleashing your powers and going for it. Love it. Love it. All right. So I'm not going to drop you guys into prom next session, although that's tempting. Well, maybe I will. I don't know. We'll figure it out.
Like, don't. All I ask is don't time shift us 4 months. There's
No.
winter formal.
Oh yeah, there can be. It doesn't have to be prom, but it can definitely be like, oh, February Sadie Hawkins dance. Yay! Can we do Sadie Hawkins dance?
The hell?
Yes.
Do you guys not
Sadie
know it?
Hawkins is where the girls ask the boys out.
It's very pre your generation.
Oh really?
We just did that as the winter dance.
Oh okay. Well, it's.
I never went because there were stupid themes.
Oh, that's the.
And
I think it's sometime in February was usually February. It's like
Yeah.
end of winter, beginning of spring. Sadie Hawkins dance.
Yeah.
We'll
my
come
main
up with
reason for going to prom was after prom.
Of course. Now we won't jump all the way forward to prom. That's I don't want to lose all of that delicious school time stuff, but there's definitely a dance we can jump to once you guys are back on your feet. And I mean, I don't want to make any predictions, but it seems like that would fill a couple of sessions. And as we were talking about last session, we're definitely in a space where we've had a lot of big stuff happening.
Hey, Doyce?
And some sort of smaller interactions would be really good, I think. Yes, sir.
Did we have Valentine's Day yet?
I mean, no, because we could just do it right around there.
Could it just be like a Valentine's Day dance?
Absolutely. I mean, that's a lot of times where that one falls. But yeah, we could definitely do it right around Valentine's Day. That's great.
Yeah.
That will save some of the nerve-wracking experience of having to figure out who to ask. So, yeah. That's good.
My God, yeah. I mean, I almost don't want to avoid that, but yeah. Valentine's Day. That is, yeah. So, yeah, we'll line up, and it'll be probably a little bit. We don't have to time shift a lot, very much at all, really, but we can get back. That'll get you guys back on the ground. Everyone's back on the ground, and we have a couple sessions here that I think will be more.
And Leo is still not retired.
Wait, do we need to start with that? Do we need to jump to that? What do we need to do?
He just has something he wants to tell the team, like at some point. So yeah, anytime is good for that.
Yeah, maybe it'll be like maybe the after party, like the private little after party after the dance or whatever.
That's
kind of a cool little time.
It makes perfect sense given.
That's when Jason retired during the after party.
Oh yeah, good point. All right.
I think that the HHL has to sponsor an after party for the Teen Supers community.
I don't know. I mean, given the last social event that they hosted that you guys had to attend, I don't know that you would be that hot to participate in something like that. All right, so we got some stuff going on there. Yeah, I need to give this one some thought because I'd like some. There's some. As we have established in the past, you guys take more conditions when people are just talking to you than when I'm actually punching you. So.
Whatever you do next, I just want to ask: are we clear for like the usual like forum cutscenes shenanigans, or are we?
Absolutely.
Okay.
At this point in time, I think everyone's on the ground and everyone can talk to everybody. So yes, we can write somewhat fewer NPCs and more PCs. Yay!
Because I think like Dave's getting the jitters at this point. He's probably sitting in his chair, tapping a vein, going.
Got to.
I just need to know where the hell I'm living. Okay.
Yes, we should definitely do that. I should think about that. I'm going to see if I can squeeze some. I don't know. That's
gonna in theory, Parker claimed she had some sort of arrangement in mind.
Yeah, that was what,
when we left back in.
Oh my God.
May or whatever it was.
2017.
I didn't think the time travel thing would take that long. Who knew? Who knew?
You know, it's like in a comic book where it's like, you know, the next thing you know, this side jaunt that they do all of a sudden goes on for 18 issues.
Some
everybody's going like, yeah, nobody could use that character during that time, and so they missed out on this crossover. Yeah. And all these other plot lines got dropped.
Some random X-Men writer goes, I'm gonna do like just a 2-issue arc that throws them out, that takes them down to this, takes them out to the Savage Lands, and the entire X-Men like population vanishes out of the Marvel universe for the next like 12 months because it spirals into this ridiculous thing where Magnus is like in a
And they
leopard
changed the writers
loincloth.
3 times.
Yeah, and none of them can get them back out of the Savage Lands. They just have more Savage Lands stuff that they want to do. Yeah, it's exactly like that. Little quick side jaunt turns into a year's worth of issues. All right. With that, thank you guys very much. Thank you for my little weirdness, my silly little idea that hopefully was at least somewhat enjoyable. I love the love letter stuff too, so good stuff. And
are we agreed the title is Are You Going to Shoot Jeff Goldblum?
I think we're good with that.
Okay.
Are you going to shoot Jeff Goldblum? Yes.
I am particularly proud of that line.
That is quite good. So, and I mean, having Jeff Goldblum warmly but yet somehow always creepily smile over at Leo as he's waking up is just, I mean, it
was perfect.
That may have made my week. So, anyway, all right, I will talk to you guys later, and we will pick this craziness up next week. I look forward to whatever happens on the forums this week because that should be great too.